Hey guys, it's Mike again with Extreme Hydrogen Labs. What you're looking at here is the contour cell. We have put the vacuum port in and brought the inlet tube down into the water to the bottom. Water, electrolyte, whatever you want to call it. Get a little better drain valve set up on here. Make it a little easier for flushing, cleaning. And if you notice too, she got a little coat of paint. I thought it was kind of cool. Get rid of the PVC look. I guess kind of get rid of it a little bit. At least it's doesn't have a bunch of writing and crap on it and so on and so forth. But you know, our electrodes are on each side like we showed. That two-plate cell is rather tight in there, both ends. I mean, it's very well constructed because this cell does not come apart. That's what I stressed in an earlier video. You're going to build one of these like this, build it right the first time. Which I've had no problems. I'm just, adding some revisions. As you can see in there, you see this fitting right here, which used to be the output. I was getting a little water too. I had it a little too low. The water was getting in the tube. So that's kind of not what prompted me to do this anyways, but you see that tube going down the bottom? It's just shy of the bottom. That tube there, or that fitting now, is basically going to go to this valve right here. I'm going to mount this valve, a couple little brackets or something under the hood somewhere. Key this other end, maybe into the air filter, maybe not. Maybe put my own filter on it. Then this valve will adjust the amount of air brought in per the vacuum of the engine drawing. So, I guess in my theory here, drawing that air in and that tube submerged, it's going to cause bubbles. Bubbles are going to come up, which is cool. That's fine. It'll agitate the top of the water a little bit. If you get a little bit of scumminess or bubbles adding up. But considering the electrolyte stuff I've came up with, I've had more effervescence like water, like Alka-Seltzer in water, so I don't have those hanging bubbles. And I don't think those hanging bubbles are good because they're not, they hang there and they don't pop off. And, I personally think that, if it's effervescing off, I guess if that's even a word, it's releasing the hydrogen faster. So, now my next problem, which I think I caused, here's the top, the cap that threads in, okay? I put a two-way T in it, and I figured low side, which essentially would be the one that goes to the throttle body, which goes into the into the air cleaner assembly, so to speak, but mine goes right above the throttle body itself, or the butterfly. And my air cleaner is downstream, probably 12-14 inches. You guys will get to see the install here pretty quick, which has been on there. I've just removed the cell to do a couple things. I was thinking I can't get a real good draw on that because it takes the least passive resistance. Water does, air suction, whatever. Air blowing, or air flow, I should say. Anyways, so that's where I came up with the draw through here on the vacuum deal. Anyways, long story short, one side's going to go to PCB, which will in turn cause a vacuum in this tube it'll draw air in through the valve, which I can adjust wait a minute, it's over here, I'm sorry. I can adjust it in. That way I don't have like a major vacuum leak and the engine wants to idle real high, which is no good. But I was going to run the other tube to the throttle body, what I was speaking of. But my problem I'm thinking I may have, and I thought about putting a couple different valves on there where it's like a push-pull situation. If you got your foot into it and you have low vacuum, the one side's not going to draw, of course. But the other side, the throttle body, yeah, it's pulling. But this being straight through like this, it's going to pull through the PCV. So I think I made a boo-boo here. I got to figure out a valve system for that. Because one would say, yeah, just add another fitting on, I would think, block one side. But I'm not real keen about that. So we got a little figuring out to do. But I'm hoping that by drawing through there like that and not basically a deadhead, because this thing will put well over 15 psi deadheaded with the cap on and on that Magnehelic gauge. No problem. I mean immediately. But I don't care what kind of cell you have, how many plates you have. I've made all kinds of them. I haven't shown them. There's just been no reason to. You're not going to build like something that puts out a huge amount at, I guess you would say, CFMs, to where it actually has some good air pressure. Because if you pay attention to anybody that's making their little HHO torches, which is cool, I love it, it's great. I'm going to make one sooner or later. You always have to use a very fine needle tip, because there's no CFMs. I mean, not enough to, go through a bigger tube or more than a hypodermic needle. I mean, imagine like a 5/16 brake line and blowing a pretty good flame out of that. Now that'd be impressive. So that's where, like I said, I came up with my little idea here. Somebody probably else has already done it or working on something similar, but I'm thinking that's the way to go. And like I said, I'll go over it once more. You're drawing in, or you're actually pulling on the cell vacuum-wise. Well, if it's deadheaded and you don't have enough pressure in there to keep up with what's going on, you're basically keeping a suction on this, but it can't go anywhere. It can't let it flow. So, like I said, I figured with this fitting, the tube going down to the bottom, and it's under the water, that way it's not drawing air. It's making bubbles, because I've already screwed around with similar deals. It's making bubbles. Those bubbles are coming up over your blade system, plus they're busting the surface of the water. And you just have bubbles going through your water or slash electrolyte anyways. So I think that's a good thing. We're going to try it. I kind of know my mileage right now. I see a huge increase. I know I did good. Well, I hope I've helped y'all. I mean, it's not the greatest shop, it's not the best, but we do what we can. So, let's see what happens. I kind of think that gray is cool. It doesn't look stupid underneath my front bumper, because I've gotten some looks over it, especially a couple police officers. I kind of wondered if they thought I had some kind of bomb under the hood or something, or under the air dam, when it's just a hydrogen unit that powers the car. Either way, we'll see you next time. I got to work that problem out right there, and I'll show you the install on the car. And guess what, everybody else? I'm thinking there, I just might give up the secret electrolyte. If you ain't already saw the container in the background. I don't think you have, but either way, it works pretty good. I don't know if there's any adverse effects. I haven't seen any yet, but that doesn't mean it won't happen over long term. But I know the stuff is safe. It's way better than screwing around with this drain cleaner and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Alright, till next time. Y'all have a good night.